Ladies and gents, Casual Gaming Dad here, and I've got a treat for you today. Something I wasn't expecting to be able to do this season, but I was able to build up enough wealth to make a build that I've never built before, actually, in my many, many years of playing Diablo 2, and that's the Tesladin, the Dream Tesladin, to be specific. Before I get into it, I just want to say this is going to be my last build guide. I've made 4 characters in Season 3 of Diablo 2 Resurrected, and which is the most I've made in any season. This is going to be my last one. Things are winding down for me. Diablo 4 is on the horizon, and I have some other games and projects I'm, just working on the side. So my time is winding down. Am I done with Diablo 2? Is that going to be it? Probably not. I doubt that. But I think one of the nice things the Diablo 4 devs said was that they were going to stagger seasons with Diablo 4 and D2R. So that means that players who want to play both can play both. So will I come back to it at some point? I'm sure. Just probably not for a bit. I will have one more video on D2R coming out possibly next week. It's a crafting video. I've been trying to save up mats a bit more, just so that it's a little more than the 15 I've been doing. So thanks for your patience on that one. See if we get anything, but either way, let's get into the build. So for those of you who don't know, the way this build works is it revolves around your Holy Shock, but instead of using our skill points to get into Holy Shock here under Offensive Auras, we are using the Dream rune word, both on the helm and the shield. And what that does is it gives us a level 15 Holy Shock Aura when equipped, and it stacks. So here we have level 30 Holy Shock Aura, which does quite a bit of damage. You can take a look here and see that's the number that it shows for my Zeal damage. When we're close up, since the intensity is more, since we're in close range, this number is effectively doubled. Okay, so it's quite a bit of damage. And it's really cool because the pulses do a lot of damage as well, and sometimes a couple of pulses kill everything in hell mode, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. So one of the things I really like about Dream is I really like, for example, the 10% chance to cast the level 15 Confuse. This really helps keep you alive. There's the faster hit recovery, there's defense, there's vitality, little max life on the helm. There's just actual life on the shield. There's mana based on character level for both, so you get a little bit of that mana boost, which is actually relevant because we're using Enigma, spoiler, so we need that mana. Then it's got all resist. The all resist rolls from 5 to 20. We got a pretty good roll here. Kind of a mid roll on the shield because it's a plus 40, so we only got 11 on the shield. Then it rolls from 12 to 25 MF, so we got a bottom roll on this and a max roll on this one. So Jaw is the most valuable rune right now, so this was a little expensive. I did have to sell off gear from other items to be able to complete the build in the way I wanted to. So I think what really makes this build viable and more powerful than it was before are the Sunder Charms. So being able to sunder the lightning immunity, in addition to reducing enemy resistances with both Conviction as well as minus enemy lightning resist. We're using Crescent Moon. This may be best in slot. I got a really bad roll on this one, but I don't really think the physical damage matters a whole lot. I considered re-rolling it. I may because it goes up to 220% ED, but it's not a make or break. We're really getting most of our damage from the lightning. The physical does help us with our life leech though, which gives us a little bit of sustain, which is important. But it's also got 25% chance of open wounds, right? Mana for each kill. It's got the static field on striking, which really helps a lot with boss killing, because that's one of the things this build was a little bit weaker on, is with the bosses. But our Act 5 Merc, which is what I chose to use, is also really helpful with that. Okay, so this build, unfortunately, I probably should have said this right off the bat, it is non-budget. This is not budget. I repeat, you can't do this build without these two, at least the way this is intended. You could do Holy Shock Paladin, you can, but it's not going to be nearly as strong. It's just not. This is a much more effective way to do it, and so it's not budget. Okay, so Enigma is definitely not required. I just think it works really well since we can use it. Why not, right? It's got great stats, gives us a teleport. It allows me to put absolutely nothing into strength, not wasting any points there. And it gives us a little MF, which doesn't hurt anybody, right? So happy with that. Other than that, really, I think the main focus of the build is just to put in as much killing power as possible. So I'm going to show you the things that I have and why I chose them. Okay, I think Gore Rider is best in slot here. We need some crushing blows, some deadly strike, more open wounds, right? That's valuable. The run walk is helpful too. I chose to go, I was going to do Drax, but then for reasons I'll show you later, I chose not to have overlapping curses. So I went with a crafted, this I bought off somebody, I did not craft this myself. This gives me that little bit of mana leech that makes sure that I can keep doing Zeal no matter what, even if there's mana burn, right? Little life leech, crushing blow, the highest is 10, it went to 8. Life, lightning resist, fire, obviously these gloves are beautiful. I mean, I think the only way they could be a little better is if some of the rolls were a bit higher. The IS is completely not needed, especially since I'm using a phase blade with IS on it, and I have the hustle rune word weapon on my merc, so I get fanaticism. Definitely don't need any IS anywhere else, okay? So instead of using High Lords, I'm using a +2 Paladin Skills Amulet. I bought this off somebody. I wanted +2 with 10 faster cast, and I looked for Lightning Resist and AR. I couldn't find one with enough of both that I wanted, so I ended up opting to go with this. I think this amulet served my purposes very well. I wanted to make sure that I was capped out on my Lightning Resist, right, since especially I'm taking advantage of the additional +10 that I'm getting from gear. So completely offsets the Sunder Charm, which you need to work on doing as well. Okay. For rings, I have another 10 FCR ring. I'm trying to hit that 75 FCR breakpoint, which I use with Spirit and Call to Arms in the offhand. So I got the 35 here, 10, 10, and then 20. Okay, the Arachnid Mesh. For +2 skills, 20 faster cast. I really love the way that you definitely don't need the 75 FCR, but I like the way it feels. The speed, so it feels just right with the Paladin, so that's why I really wanted to do that. So I wanted to get the very high life leech. I think you can get higher than 8. I think you can get 9 actually. And then I got a little bit of strength. The fire resist is actually relevant because it puts me at Met Cap, so that was a nice bonus. I wanted just that little bit of strength to save me from having to put any points there, and it has a little life, so it served its purpose. The main thing I wanted was the 10 FCR and the life stolen, and so, you know, that does the job. And then, of course, a Raven Frost, because it's a melee build. We need to have cannot be frozen. So that's the gear here. Of course, I have a torch, an Any, which I have a bunch, and this is the best one I found this season. Sunder Charm, mandatory, right? Geeds, not mandatory, but I still like to have for the extra gold. And then I went with a variety of different charms. You'll see 4 of them have faster hit recovery. I don't feel like combat skillers are going to help me that much, since I'm just doing Zeal for the most part. Sure, can give me a little more defense, damage in AR a little bit, but the damage is not that significant. So I chose to go with a little bit of AR just to help me ensure that I'm getting hits off and not rely entirely just on that pulse damage. So here I found this one myself. This one was pretty good for offsetting that lightning resist, like I said. An all resist one with lightning damage. I wish the lightning damage, the adds, was higher. It'd be nice, but still pretty decent one. Again, one I found myself. Just AR faster hit recovery, AR faster recovery, AR faster recovery. So this puts us at a breakpoint that I wanted to reach with hit recovery. Then this I found, don't need the lightning resist, but sure, why not? 20 lifers, 19. So these could be improved, of course. This one I found, decent again. This one I found. So just stuff that I feel I could fill in, you know, just AR dex. A little bit of dex helps with the block rate, making sure I'm hitting that. So let's go to the skills really quick. Maybe I should have started with that. Okay. So in defensive auras, this is entirely utility. It's not needed, this whole portion here. This could be omitted. I really like having access to Redemption and Vigor, though. I think they're really nice, just, you know, auras to have from time to time. So if you wanted to, you could skip these. You absolutely must max Resist Lightning. This is where that extra 10% max because every 2 points you put here gives you maximum lightning resist. If you do the same with these, you get maximum fire and cold. This gives you a significant damage boost to your Holy Shock. You can see here 12% for resist lightning, 4 for salvation. So I chose to go all in on the lightning damage, so I maxed these two. For here, I need to get down to conviction. You want to put in enough points based on your gear to get to 25, in this case 24, because when I do the battle command and battle orders with the call to arms, it puts me at 25. 25 is the max. We get to minus 50 all resist. Of course, it works at 1/5 of that power for reducing enemy lightning resist, but we want to, this is the aura of choice. Okay, so we're going to be doing that. Again, we're going all in on the lightning damage. That's what we're doing there. And then for here, I put in 1 point, got down here to Holy Shield. I chose to max Zeal for the AR. You could do Sacrifice for the additional physical damage here. I think if you were choosing to do a hybrid and you were using like something like Grief instead of the Crescent Moon, that it would make sense to put as many points here, trying to max this out if you can. But since I'm chosen to go into the Lightning, I went with here just for the AR and left it at that. And I chose to put more points here into Holy Shield, and I really like it because it helps me get, it gives me a lot more defense, makes me harder to hit, which is pretty significant, and it helps me get to that 75 block rate without having to invest in arm and a leg and dex. Speaking of stats, as much as you need to get strength to wear your gear, but in this case, because I have Enigma, and because of that ring, I don't need, and Annihilus and Torch, I don't need to put any points into it. Dexterity, I do have quite a bit here because I am just barely at 75 at my current level with the way this works, right? So I have as much here to get that. Once I do my battle orders and my Holy Shield, everything into Vitality and nothing into Energy. And so my biggest resist concerns are always going to be Lightning and Fire. Cold is less necessary, and Poison, of course. Cold being because we have Ravenfrost, so it's not as important really. I don't tend to take a lot of damage from cold, so I'm not concerned about that. And I mean, of course, it'd be nice to be maxed here, but Poison is definitely not necessary. And the reason being is because we are using Plague on the Act 5 Merc. So the reason why I chose the Act 5 Merc was primarily for this reason. I chose Plague. A Plague has a 20% chance to cast level 12 lower resist when struck, which gives us even further reduction of, now granted it works at 1/5 as well, but it still gives us more lightning resist reduction, right? And so when we're sundered, we need every little bit we can get. It also has a level 14 cleansing aura, which is actually very relevant. It gets rid of poison very quickly, gets rid of curses very quickly. For our survivability purposes, for both myself and my Merc, it's actually really, really beneficial. Now, I did only get a +1 to skills roll on this, with the damage is, relatively mid, but to be honest, it's really not that important. What was really important was mainly just having the item. So I'm pretty happy with it either way. I chose to put a Hustle. Do you need ethereal weapons? No. But I think it's worth it because using Indarils and having that life leech helps keep him alive. And if he can stay alive, and he can actually kill things, he's a beast, honestly. But if it helps keep him alive, that's important to me. So originally I had a Phase Blade here, and I ended up getting an Ethereal Conquest Sword. So why the Hustle? Well, because it has a level 1 Fanaticism aura when equipped. And I completely forgot about this for long. I was wondering how I saw somebody or heard someone had that on their Act 5 Merc, and I saw this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this because then it'll give it to me. It gives me a little AR boost, a little IS, a little damage, right? It's very helpful. And lastly, of course, again, not a budget build. I wanted to go all out, right? This is my first Ethereal Armor Fortitude, actually. And I just have to say, this armor is just ridiculous on a Merc. I mean, the amount of defense he has, especially because of the 20% chance to cast the level 15 Chilling Armor when struck, which happens very, very easily, of course. He's in the fray of things. He gets hit. I mean, his defense goes above 20k. I mean, he's got way more defense than me. Gives him life, gives him resist, caps him at all his resists. Look at that. I mean, just makes him way... He's just so sustainable. He dies sometimes if I'm not careful, but usually if I'm paying attention, I can just pot him. But honestly, most of the time, I really don't have to worry about him. He's a beast. He's tough. So that's that. That's the build. Let's go show it a little bit in action. Why not? Come here. Let's go to the Chaos Sanctuary. One of my favorite places to farm. I have actually been doing bail runs quite a bit with this character. And it's actually very, very good at that. I have no worries, no concerns. Especially because of my high lightning resist. You see, they're just nearby and they just die, right? My high lightning resist makes it so that I don't have to worry about souls. One of the scarier... Actually, you know what is more concerning than the souls? Souls don't do that much damage to me. The undead soul killers, the little guys that pop, those guys hurt a lot more. I could still die from those guys. I'm not going to get one-shotted, but I could still die. So I do have to be a little bit careful. See, this is why I like Redemption, right? I could just do that if I'm low on mana or so I don't have to pot, you know. So I feel like it's got good utility. I do like to kill all the ghosts. I try to kill all the ghosts because the ghost-type creatures have the highest chance to drop runes, actually, in the game. So that's something interesting if you didn't know that. And when I find those, I usually... So I just switch to the W, teleport. Oh, I press W. And then press it back. Anyways, so I think, yeah, one of the complaints, again, I saw about this build was the boss killing. And honestly, I don't feel like it's that big of an issue because there's the static and my Merc. Also, he just destroys things, honestly. Oh, and you know what's funny is a couple of times I was just in a game, just farming, and... Ooh, Sacred Tars, what do we have here? Nope. And the Diablo clone spawned, and I thought, oh, okay. I guess I'll go kill him. And then, honestly, really didn't have a hard time killing him at all. And in my stash, I also have a Guillaume's face, and what I did was I put it on my Merc instead of the Andaros, and man, that crushing blow difference, he just destroyed him. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. Like, he just went down. I felt like I was a smitered in. Like, he just died that quickly. So, not a problem at all. I mean, this is players one, of course. I really don't think I played in games with other people. It doesn't feel like it's that much harder, really. I mean, see, like, look, this fire damage hurts a bit. You can see. I mean, sometimes I have to pot, right? But it's really not a big issue. But, I mean, overall, it's like, look, 10,000 defense, 75 block. It's like, you tell me, like, look, see? You see the statics, how they just go off in the crushing blow? Like, look at that. Oh, Demon Hide boots. I already have those. I don't need those. I have like 2 pairs, I think. I need to stop picking stuff up. So, I mean, what do you think? That's the build, right? It's honestly really good if you have the wealth. I mean, like I said, you don't need the Enigma. I really like it. I think what you need is these two. If you're going for the Lightning version, which is a little bit less expensive than Grief, you could just do Crescent Moon, which is pretty affordable. If you don't have like a good pair of gloves like this, you could do High Lords if you want. If you're not using the Act 5 Merc, you could certainly use the Act 2 Merc. You could do Act 2. There's a number of ways you can do it. If you're doing the hybrid build, you could do Might Aura for the extra physical damage, right? You could do that. You could do Holy Freeze for a little more safety. You could do Prayer and then use Cure and like the Demon Hide Armor or Chains of Honor on the Act 2 Merc with with Insight, right? I mean, sometimes I feel like the Insight would be kind of nice, right? So I wouldn't have to worry with the teleporting about the mana at all, but I don't know. I feel like the Plague Merc really suits this build more because of the extra low resist, and things just die very easily and very quickly. So for farming solo, this thing is easy peasy. For multiple players, I think it's still easy peasy. It's just you may have to be a little bit more careful about not dying, just because of just a little bit of the life leech. There's definitely ways you could change that. I wasn't really worried about it. I haven't had any problems with it myself. So I don't know. Tell me, guys, what you think about the build. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to the next crafting video, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye-bye.